If you're a bit like me, you probably enjoy watching online videos, listening to audiobooks, reading books, taking in content, using the amazing variety that exists in the web of all this cool stuff, this cool motivational information. Sometimes we feel low and we run along to one of our favorite pundits to get motivated and to get beefed up on various ideas surrounding success and making money and fitness and feeling creative and being productive and managing our lives and all this stuff, all these nodes of information that come together from different people to sort of coalesce in our minds to create our own way of doing things through our own interesting filters. I've noticed, and you probably have as well, that you get certain people who have their own view on how to be successful, how to succeed in various aspects of life. And then you've got someone else who has a slightly different flavor about them, and they also have their own view of how to be successful based on their own experiences in life, and it's completely the opposite of what the other guy was saying. So we're sitting here in the middle, Mr. or Mrs. Let's consume information and try and make use of the knowledge that our mentors and all these people who've sort of a few steps ahead of us have been through. But sometimes it can get a bit overwhelming because it's like, all right, if Gary Vee is talking about tripling down on our strengths and only focusing on what we're good at, and then you've got Mr. David Goggins over here, this is sort of referencing a book I recently read from Mr. Goggins called Can't Hurt Me, who's all about forget tripling down on your strengths, focus on tripling down on your weaknesses. I'm sitting here like, okay, what am I going to do? Strengths or weaknesses? What's it going to be, guys? And I think the reason we get these sort of dichotomies, these conflicting ideas from different people who've had different experiences, is because they highlight the aspects of their life that they think should be given the most credit for their success, but they don't emphasize those other aspects that they think are maybe less sexy through their own flavor of how to present information. Does that make sense? So you'll have David Goggins, who fails to mention that tripling down on your strengths, although he might have done, I can't remember exactly. He fails to mention that tripling down on your strengths is actually a good thing, even though he's very, very supportive of the whole tripling down on your weaknesses thing. So what I'm getting at here, guys, is that often you get these conflicting opinions from different people, which can confuse us. But the reason they're conflicting is because it's neither or. It's the yin-yang nature of reality at play here. And actually, what is the correct outcome is a little bit of both, which is just sort of reality. A lot of us want to simplify things. And if you're one of those gurus, one of those pundits, and you want to make an impact on YouTube and you want to build a big following, like Gary Vee does and all these other guys, they're going to try and oversimplify things. They're going to try and turn things black and white. And of course, reality doesn't work like that, especially if you've been listening to enough videos and reading enough books. Reality is about mixtures, combinations of different ways of doing things that work together as one. So what I'm getting at here is A, be skeptical about people's black and white opinions on things. Often there's another side to it. And B, let's go into a little bit more on this whole tripling down on your strengths, tripling down on your weaknesses idea. And to clarify, tripling down means to just sort of go all in, just to focus all your effort and energy on those things rather than sort of faffing around with other things. So Gary Vaynerchuk talks about focusing on those strengths of yours and forgetting all your weaknesses. Let the weaknesses sort of take care of themselves and focus on your strengths. He's correct. David Goggins talks about focusing on your weaknesses and forgetting about doing the stuff that's easy. You know, like life is, he says that life is supposed to be a struggle. It's not the cakewalk that other people are talking about by focusing on the things you enjoy. Of course, you're gonna focus on things you enjoy because it's easy, but life isn't supposed to be easy. It's a bit of both. I say triple down on your strengths. Focus on what interests you and what you've always been good at. Yes, put a lot of your energy into that, but you've got to think big, think abundantly. And anyone who wants to be successful has to think in terms of being multifaceted. That doesn't mean being a jack of all trades and being mediocre at many things. It means understanding that you are a multifaceted human being who is able to do one thing and do another thing really, really well and treat each individual aspect of your life as a craft in and of itself. So if you are, for example, a writer who has come to the conclusion that they are pretty good at writing and they want to get really good at it and they want to be a master at it and they want to master that craft, or you want to be a master of painting or ceramics or videos. Yes, focus on getting really good at a craft, absolutely. But don't forget that behind you are little pestering thoughts and realities that are going to eat away at you if you don't address them. So other fears that exist in your life, which you might perceive as a weakness, they're going to be there. I want to differentiate between weaknesses that, were you to address them, they would improve your life, and weaknesses that, were you to do them, would just sort of bring you down. There are two types of weaknesses you have to be careful with. Many weaknesses that we think are weaknesses that we can ignore are actually worthy of confronting and dealing with and taking courage to act on them. So if you're a writer focusing on the craft of writing, but you're a terrible public speaker, you're terrible at communicating, you're not going to sell many books, okay? That's why you need to get good at both things, but you might also be terrible at sort of putting your accounts together, putting your numbers together for the finances, in which case, were you to do them, maybe you would just sort of find that completely debilitating and totally mind-numbing. And that's understandable. That's the case when you need to outsource. But there are certain aspects that you might consider weaknesses or fears that are best sort of pushed away into the darkness that you should confront. Because when you do those things, that's the sort of secret sauce, is actually when you confront those fears, you're going to take courage, you're going to overcome things, you're going to feel great having done them, having challenged yourself and stretched yourself. And that leads to positive chemicals running through you. That leads to happiness. That leads to improved skills and improved self-image, which of course then feeds back into that initial strength that you were tripling down on in the first place. Does that make sense? It's all about thinking of things laterally, thinking of all the aspects in your life as worthy of addressing, and being an all-round, well-rounded human being who does really well in all aspects of his or her life. So be multifaceted, think big, think abundantly. You can have it all, you can do it all, but don't forget those fears, and be wary of those gurus who go a little bit black and white on you. Be aware of the importance of how there are combinations of things, and how if you've got a voice that keeps returning to you, that speaks to you and says, you got to sort this out, that we're over here, mate. Look, just don't forget about me. That could be going out and public speaking or meeting people or improving your social skills. I'm thinking about myself here because I need to work on those things. But be careful about only focusing and only tripling down on your strengths. Use the secret of facing your fears in other areas to lift yourself up, become a stronger all-round human being, and then have that extra power to get even doubly, triply, quadruply good at your strengths as well, thus lifting yourself up and really getting ahead in life. Hope that made sense, guys. Do subscribe if you made sense of what I was talking about here. I love to see likes if you indeed liked it. If you didn't like it, then let me know. Write a comment, tell me how I can improve. Give me some feedback on ideas for other videos. I'm always intrigued to hear about problems that can be solved through my crazy monkey brain. And I will see you in the next video.